Download my new album, When the Sun Falls, on arsinmovement.com.
People online, they be doing the most, but I'm having the ball.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Matchbook Podcast, where one idea can spark the ideas of many. So today, it's a little different. We talking about art, the artistic process, life, and most importantly, we talking about my new album, When the Sun Falls. So I wanted to try something different. You know, I wanted to involve the community and people into this conversation. So we have a live studio audience today. So let's make some noise. And this is just a group of diverse people. I mean, Muslim, Christian, white, black, music lovers, you know, people, barbers, producers, because I want you to kind of see the life behind the music and not just the music itself so you can appreciate it more. But also, I have a special guest today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hey, what's up? What's up? It's your girl, Brittany the Muse, host of Mute the Muse podcast, and I'm here today on Matchbook Podcast. In case you don't know me, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, all the social medias under Brittany the Muse. That's just it. Brittany the regular way. Don't add anything fancy. It's just Brittany A-M-Y. Don't do anything fancy. Anyway, I'm here today on Matchbook Podcast. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
And you already know, we go back all the way to, what, 2003?
See, all right, stop telling my age. Like, you're doing too much. Like, don't.
High school.
High school. That was a long time ago. But I'm excited here to talk about your new album.
Yeah,
that's coming out, When the Sun Falls.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're here to talk about today. And I'm excited because these tracks, they're interesting.
Yeah, and just to be clear, no one here has heard the album.
I tried, y'all.
It comes out May 21st, or it's be out now depending on when you watch it. But yeah, it's called When the Sun Falls.
Okay, so When the Sun Falls is the name of the album. The number one track on there, the first one, is also called When the Sun Falls. So what was your inspiration behind just the concept of the album or the idea of the name? What was on your mind when you decided to name it that?
So I'm gonna give a little backstory. My last album came out 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 4 years, depending on when you're watching this. And a lot has happened. You know, I became a father, I got married.
Yeah.
A lot of people already know I lost a lot of friends to gun violence and drugs. I mean, or just period. Friday was a funeral, so that was 60 people. I lost my best friend in September. So, you know, I went into a depression, and it gets dark in the depression. And, we think about the sun, that's the biggest source of light in our universe.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't see no light. So when the sun fell in my life and it was dark, I had to go within to find the light. And that light was, you can call it God, you can call it the universe, you can call it whatever you want. But it was just inside. And also like my daughter and different, forms of light that I kind of used to supplement that external joy that used to give me. So I named it When the Sun Falls because I felt like at the end of the day, this is what I'm gonna have. This is who I'm gonna be, and this is what I got that's gonna illuminate me when the sun falls and when there's no external inspiration. So that's how I came up with that song. And then track 1 is just it's kind of just like a long freestyle.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just going off. I'm just starting it. I'm setting the tone. Like this is how I feel. Like
okay.
Just going off. So that's how that came about.
Okay, so coming from When the Sun Falls and just that time in your life, then we go over to the second song, Red Beamer. Now, is it as obvious as it says? It's a metaphor.
No, it's obvious, but it's because when I was a kid, my favorite cars, I used to always see a BMW 745 at the time. And I used to be like, yo, that's going to be my car one day.
Okay.
And then I also seen the new Jaguar, and I was like, damn, I like that Jaguar. So I was blessed to end up to get both. But my Beamer was black, and my Jaguar was red. And I spent a lot of time in the BMW at night writing. So that's where I would get like most of my confidence at night when I just ride in the car, because it was like I manifested it. So the song is like a real cocky song. Like I'm in my bag and I'm just kind of like, I'm talking about like, I'm really cocky because I did the work. For me, I did the work to manifest what I wanted. And one of the things that was tangible was a materialistic thing, but it was tangible because it was my cars, because it's something that I dreamed about, aside from all the untangible stuff. So it's just, you know how it is in hip hop. You accomplish something, you're gonna talk your shit.
You got flex your Beamer.
For real. So yeah, that's just straightforward. That's what that's about.
I like that. Dope. All right. So we just going to keep going down the track list because we're excited to hear. I know I am. I tried to get you to let me hear some. I said, well, what was your favorite song? But we're going to go over to track 4. No, track 3. By My Side. Is that like a love jam?
Yeah, it is. It's a love, but it's not like a LL I need love type love. Like, it's not like cliche. It's a little more dynamic. It's just talking about friends, family, loved ones. Because like I said, when I was in that time, like you realize what's important and you realize who really by your side. It's a lot of people out here wilding out right now. It's a lot of people that's not really realizing who really by their side. So that was just a moment to like show appreciation for those people that was there.
For sure. All right, so we go on to track number 4. Is this I'm going to cuss, a shit talking song too? Because it's Let Me Talk.
No, I mean it is, but it's like, it's more like, I feel like it's more on like, I would say the advocacy, uncensored. It's like the word is very sensitive right now.
Yeah.
And it's like with our platforms that we have the ability to speak up. So I'm just talking about a lot of stuff that people don't want to talk about in rap specifically. And I'm doing it shamelessly. And I'm just kind of like, I'm not going to be censored. This is freedom of speech. I'm going to say what I want. And that's that. And I feel like people take art too serious. Like people going to say what they going to say. You know what I mean? And I'd rather somebody say it and, leave it there than like go out and actually live it. So it's like, let me use my voice. That's what that's really about. I
mean, I'm ready. See, I wanted to hear a little snippet or something like.
Like as an artist, I want y'all to hear it, but you gotta wait till 521. It's like that's because like it's important to see this part.
Yeah.
Because the music gonna speak for itself, but it will never show you what we talking about today.
You're right. Absolutely. Just a better insight on.
Yeah.
The art, the work. All right. So track number 5, Heal My Soul.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, tell me why.
Like as a person, like we all got stuff that we deal with. Like, we don't show it to the world, but we got a lot of stuff we ashamed of. We got a lot of stuff that hurt us. We got a lot of traumas. We got a lot of stuff we did, dirt we do, but we never show it. But the only person that can see it is you and God. So it's a conversation I'm having with God, and I'm telling them like, you see the work I do. Oh, you do a lot of community stuff. Oh, you positive. But it's like I got a real dark side. And I try to keep that in sometimes because it ain't good. So it's like, I feel like it's some deficiencies in there. So I'm having a conversation with God on that song. And we kind of trying to get to the solution of, what's going to heal me. But in that conversation, you kind of realize that, he or it accepts you for what you are. Unlike people. So you'll get a chance to hear that conversation on how that goes.
So it's like vulnerability, like who are you when no one's watching?
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like super vulnerable, which is a lot of people are scared to do. So it's like I'm letting y'all see it, the conversation that I have in private on the song.
Okay. So with track number 6, we have No More Pain. So tell me what your mindset was when you wrote that track.
I just wanted to be numb at some point. You lose so many friends and family to stuff, and you just go through so much. And then, I mentioned, it's not a secret. Well, some people may not know about it, but it was a time where I attempted suicide. You know what I mean? I mentioned that in there. I tried to shoot myself in the face in the gun jam. So, and it's a line in there, where I pretty much, I'm not going to rap it, but I pretty much tried. And I said, I asked God, am I dead? And he said, no, there's too many people, you got to show things you got to let out that you'll never know. Like, so he pretty much was like, no, it's not your time because it's bigger than you. So it's like, it was kind of like, I ain't want to deal with it no more. Yeah. So I just put it in the song.
Art. It's your art.
Yeah,
art
for sure. That's what this is about, the process.
Yeah. Dang.
I know I probably caught you.
Yeah, I did.
I can see it.
And
I was expecting
I'm such an empath, and I'm just like, in my heart, I'm like, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. Okay.
No, but listen, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm being real. There's somebody out here that's watching. My last episode was on suicide for a reason. Nobody want to talk about it.
You're right.
They want to talk about it when they're gone. You know what I mean? Oh, what could I... like the dude I was in the movie with on BT that I was gripping up, he killed himself and he seemed fine when I saw him. So it's like, why? Let's stop bullshit, and then let's be real about what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me talk.
Yeah. That's right. All right. So that was No More Pain. Yeah. Right. So we're on to lighter mood. Track number 7, Better Day.
Yeah. Better Day. Yeah. Yeah. Cause like, it's always like they always say, it's always darkest before the dawn. So
right.
Better Day is also like a version of the song I did, Voices from My City, which was connected to the Pray for Philly challenge, which I know we're going to talk about later. But A Better Day is a song, it's about like hope. It's about like getting through it, you know what I mean? And it's really inspirational. I got an artist named La on there. She's singing and she did an amazing job. I wrote the hook, but she brought it across. She brought the vision across. I don't really let singers leave the booth until I get goosebumps. I don't be trying to be like super like controlling, but it's like when you got a vision in your head, you got to feel it.
Serious about
if you
your
don't
shit.
feel it, they ain't going to feel it.
I understand.
Because she sing at a lower tone, like on some Tony Braxton.
You made her push like Martin.
And she going to watch it. She going to be like, yeah. And I was like, I need to push like, come on, what you want, Mary J. Blige? I was like, yeah, give me Mary J. Blige. You had to push it till she got it right.
Yeah,
little attitude, but it is what it is. It's like...
No, but the artist, excuse my language, but you serious about your shit. You want it to be good and you want it to be right. And that's how it is. And this album seems like it is personal. When the Sun Falls. So it almost seems like it's like a page from your diary, or like in a sense, or just the emotional transition through life.
Like as I got older, like my last album was Window. It's kind of like a window look. You know what I mean? But this is even a little deeper. Yeah.
Okay. All right, this sounds good so far. Now we're on to track number 8, and that is Timeless.
Yeah, so Timeless. Timeless is a song where I talk about my daughter. Aww. And I talk about my best friend who passed. No matter what happens, even though she's growing and she's getting bigger, and even though my best friend passed, I feel like it's always a timeless, eternal connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mentioned in the song, I told her, I said, even when I'm under the dirt, we still connected. So it's like something for her, like if anything ever happened to me, or even if it don't, it's something she can always go to for the rest of her life. And she can see how I felt in the first year of her life.
That's beautiful. It's like the Stevie Wonder's, like, Isn't She Lovely, like in that homage type vibe, like
kinda
always have that.
It's one of my favorite songs. And then even when my conversation with my best friend, I went in a little crazier than I thought I was going to go. Like, sometimes you write and it's going to be all right. But when I got done and I listened back to it, I said, oh, yeah.
That was it. That was a what? Okay.
I was snapping. So, yeah, it was great.
All right. So that brings us to track number 9 on When the Sun Falls. That's Fuel. Okay. Yeah,
so a lot of people know or may not know I'm a songwriter too. So I rap, but I do R&B, pop, reggae, all of that. So, Fuel is a song I wrote for the weekend because I had a meeting with Republic Records, and I was showcasing myself as an artist, but I was showcasing myself as a songwriter.
Right.
So I thought about the weekend, and I liked his vibe when he first came out, like that. Like depressed,
MJ,
But I'm talking not MJ because he MJ now. I'm talking about when he first came out. Tell Me You Love Me.
The sad, deep dark depression.
Yeah. So
bad love energy. So,
but I had my own version of it from my personal experience. So it's an R&B song. I'm not on it, but I have a singer named G Myers singing, but I wrote it.
Okay.
And it's pretty much somebody, it's like a male being vulnerable, like telling the woman like she his fuel, and without her, he ain't gonna be able to.
That's fire. I gotta use that. I'm still in that.
He ain't gonna be able to function.
I need to be your fuel, baby.
And if you ain't in my fuel, I ain't gonna be able to. I'm just gonna be.
Oh, let me write that down.
Like that's his vibe. So yeah.
If I'm not anybody's fuel, like I don't even want to be a part of your life. Like that's you done set the bar right here.
And when y'all start saying that, remember where y'all got it from.
Listen, Arsin, we got it right here on When the Sun Falls. You got to get it. That's track number 9. So we're going into track number 10, which is Intentions. Yeah. Now, I love that word. That word just, because everybody's like, I didn't intend. What was my intention? I love that word because it can have positive and negative. So tell me intentions, where you went when you wrote that.
It's a sample on here. First of all, I didn't even mean for that to be on the album. This young boy named Ryan J from I don't know where you from, Ryan. Sorry, but he from somewhere international.
Okay.
And he like 16, and he made a lot of beats on his album.
Okay.
And I was just going through his Instagram, and I heard it, and I was like, "Oh, this is fire." So the sample already says intentions, already gave me like the direction, but it's something that I can relate to because it's just about relationships and like sometimes you friends with somebody and you want to be friends,
Yeah.
and it changes, or sometimes you know what you wanted to do, but you act like you wanted to be friends, or sometimes you straightforward like, yo, this is what I want. So I got an artist on there. It's a female artist. I'm just gonna leave it there, but
All the secrets. I want this.
we go back and forth about that. So it's kind of like a little back and forth with me, and we talk about intentions and like what we gonna do and our relationship stuff, and they get a little funny.
Okay.
So it's pretty dope.
I like that. All right. So then we could travel on down to track number 11, and we have drum.
Drum.
Like I could do a little beatboxing, but I ain't gonna embarrass you.
Yeah. So
All right.
drum is not on the album. Remember, I updated that to convert it. So, but you can check out Drum. Drum is a fire song. It's a single. And I decided not to put it on the album because it's already out. And I wanted to replace it with something y'all never heard before. Since y'all paying $25, why not? You're going to get all exclusive stuff. So the song is Converted. So Converted is a reggae dance hall love song. It's pretty much saying that it's like a guy. I'm on a song, but is mostly a reggae singer singing. And I wrote it because it's like sometimes in society, you know, like men don't really show emotion. So it's like it's about a guy who wasn't a believer in love. Like I don't believe that lovey-dovey, that's fake. You know, like that's not real. That don't apply to me. But the woman converted him. She made him a believer. So that's what that song.
Okay, so Converted is track number 11. So don't fight me because I don't want to get fired on my first day because that's a bad joint, but I want to make sure that we're on track with what's next.
Yeah, we are.
All right, because I don't want to get ushered on out of here because messed it up. So then Where Do I Go?
Yeah.
Would be next.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so tell me what the inspiration was behind that track.
I got a childhood friend. He called me and was like, my nephew rap. You know, he trying to get an opportunity to do something. So, you know, me, I'm like, all right, let's go to studio. So I had a song called Where Do I Go? Because like I said, under this concept, I was just kind of searching and I was a little lost. And from what I heard from my best friend about him and then talking to him, I kind of got the same vibe from him. Because I don't just do stuff with people just to do it. So it was like the right moment because like his vibe was like, he a little discouraged. Like, you know, he had a mixtape out and he kind of like got a lot going on. So I was like, yo, I think that will be good. I heard him rap and I'm like, he nice, but when he got on the track, I was like, yeah, because you gotta be, the reason why I didn't mention the girl on other songs, because I don't know disrespect, but it's like you gotta be good as me. You're not better than me, but you gotta be good as me. Or you can't be on the album. So it's like
Talk your stuff, King.
I'm between the two girls that's on the song. That's why I ain't really say nobody's name. But the same thing with him, like he made the cut, and it's no disrespect. It's just like, and it's, you know, sometimes you should be able to tell somebody up front.
Right.
But for me, I got to listen to my album for weeks to really make a decision, and I'm gonna tell that person when I get a chance. But I made that decision lately. So with him, he made the cut though, and it's not a matter of somebody being dope or not. It's just did they fit the assignment?
Right.
You know, because you could be dope with something else, a better song for you, and it may be my error. Like maybe you know it didn't work out. So he made the cut. So that's really like a Jadakiss style situation. We're going back and forth on there.
Where do I go?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Now I'm excited to hear that. You just mentioned my two favorite rappers. So then we have. Now this was the one. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Arsin, Crash Dummy.
Oh yeah, you said that stood out to you.
That stood out because I mean, when you follow the track list, it seemed like it was telling a story. Like it seemed like we were just walking through a series of emotions or events, and then we got to Crash Dummy. So I said, I'm very curious to hear your insight on that.
So it's a lot of young boys that I work with that come to me for stuff. I be trying to put people in better situations. You got some people who want to make changes, and you got some people who don't.
Right.
So that song is to the people who just out there just reckless. You know what I mean? They wanna be something they not. They wanna go out there, talk about drilling and killing when that's not who they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, when you're driving 100 miles per hour at a brick wall, you ain't gonna do nothing but crash.
For sure.
So it's like I tell them, like, if that's you, that's fine. just make sure your peoples know what you want in your obituary. Just make sure whatever your last stuff is, you know, that you want to be told about you, because that's where you heading, is dead or in jail.
Yeah.
But if it's not you, listen to this. Don't be a crash dummy. So the song is I'm talking to the young boy, and I'm telling him like what's going on. He can listen or he can not. But either way, you know, if you keep it going, that's where you're gonna end up at.
It's the truth. He ain't never lied.
Yeah.
I tell you the truth, never tell you a lie. All right, so we're going to the last track of the album, and it is the Warm Hands remix.
Mm-hmm.
So you keeping this a secret on who's on the remix?
No.
Or?
Love Park is on a remix.
Okay.
They was on an original too.
Yeah.
And it's a song that's 90% R&B as well. I'm a lover of R&B, so yeah, I was in the booth with them. Like it was like, it's hot, man. We'll get some water. I was like, yeah, we almost done.
How long did it take?
I mean, they got it done, man. They pushed through. I love Love Park. Like they like the new Boys the Men to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 3-man group. They fire. So Warm Hands, if you've seen the original one, it's pretty much like a girl who left a guy because he was on some nonsense, and she just been getting her heart broke so many times, and she like, I'm just tired. So her heart turns cold.
Right.
And he's just like, let me use my warm hands to defrost your heart. So
it's poetry, man.
Yeah,
poetry, emotion. Like, yeah.
So you get to hear that. So it's like a updated beat version. Some guy named Adrian Waves, he's from the UK. He reproduced the beat. Mm-hmm. It sounds different. Like it has a whole different sound. I like working with different producers from all over the world, because you get sounds that you wouldn't hear if you stay in the bubble. So
yeah, for sure.
I wanted to give everybody that exclusive, because that was a song originally that I was gonna get to Chris Brown, because I was working with Chris Brown people, but they was done the album. So I was like, it's fire. So I'm gonna just keep it for myself.
Listen, jewel for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect opportunity. All right, so did you want to go ahead and get into the audience, ask the audience some questions?
Yeah, let's do it. All
right, so we're just going to say here, this is the time for the audience. If you have some questions, I mean, let us know what you want to see. What you want to know about Arsin? What you want to know about the album? Talk to us.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hey. So I just want to say I can't wait until the album drops. I'm so excited. My name is Amber Battle, aka Dr. A. Many people call me. I am a senior director at a nonprofit organization / education. So I'm going to come from the educational standpoint.
Okay.
So one of the topics or the titles of the music that you just named, I have a 2-part question for you. One about self-care and how you manage your emotions per some of the tracks that you discussed, but also just some advice that you could provide to students who may be wanting to pursue music and may be coming from some traumatic experiences. Many of the students I currently work with and have worked with are from first generational low resource communities. So just curious about your take.
So yeah, self-care for me, sometimes you be so in a mood that you can't even write. You can't even get to the point where you want to do music. I would say first thing is just to know that you have to like let it out some way. So I started working out a lot. You know what I mean? I started working out. I started reading. I started meditating. I started watching like positive things on YouTube. Therapy too. Like a lot of black men and black people and colored people, period, they think it's weak to go to therapy. Like, I gotta be crazy. No, it's good. Like, you want a professional. Your friends and your homies they ain't professionals. They gonna give you a biased point of view. So that's what I would say helped me. And as far as like for the people you work with, you know, young people, a lot of people don't give credit to young people for the fact that what they can do for themselves. So I would just encourage them and empower them to like find something that works for them and let them have a voice and letting people know what works for them. Because a lot of people, parents and professionals and teachers, always trying to tell them what they should do. I would say ask them, because they have the answers. You know what I mean? Actually, young people have more answers for themselves than adults do, to be honest. So I would start there with just kind of asking them what they think is best from them, and then give suggestions. But be diverse in those, and don't be judgmental. You know what I mean? I used to do therapy, and I had a client that I took to the studio because his grandma died. He did a song about his grandma, and that helped him way more than sitting in a room trying to figure out what medicine he needed to take. You know what I mean? So just being innovative and creative.
That was a great question, Dr. A.
Dr. A in the building.
Dr. A. So we got someone else coming up. Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
My name is Deanna, upcoming gospel artist. So from a spiritual perspective, I wanted to know if you think music has the ability to save a life, since you was also talking about mental health and suicide and stuff.
Yes. Music, I was looking at some data about music earlier, and it was saying that it's a universal language. It was a study that was done that said 37% of the people who listen to music or do some type of art live 20 years longer. So it can save lives in different ways. It can save lives through, what that does to you, because them people worked out the music, them people processed through music. So, and it can save lives from an inspirational point, because it saved my life. Like, I grew up listening to Brand Nubians, Pac, Nas. They was my big brothers, because a lot of my brothers was in jail. I didn't run to the dudes in the street. I ran to them. They told me both sides. They told me the street stuff, but they told me the other way, and I just happened to choose the other way. So it saved my life. And then I got people telling me that it's saving theirs. So yeah, it can. Yeah, for sure.
So on the other side of the coin, do you feel as though the negative kind of music has the ability to influence people to take lives?
Of course, especially like a lot of people down drill music, and I don't want to do that, because drill music is just a product of the inner city. It's reality, and it's an expression in itself. I'm not here to say it's bad, but I feel like if you didn't grow up in that, if you ain't from a city that has gangs, or you ain't come up in a gang,
Right.
and you just subscribe to it for views and stuff like that, and then you end up dead,
Yeah.
then what? Like, what was the point? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the point. But I tell you that a lot of people do it because it's like, I'd rather be seen and be somebody and possibly die than be nobody and live.
Wow.
I think that's what I be getting subconsciously from people. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, I know if I be myself, I probably live longer. But being myself, it don't feel good. Being somebody else or letting this out a different way, I get more praise from it. So it's not just the person, but it's the people entertaining it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like with the word, like
Yeah.
what they say about the word, it's a double-edged sword. It got
Yeah,
life and death
double-edged
on your
sword.
tongue. So it depends.
Yeah. It said it could even divide between the heart and the soul, and it's hard to even separate between the two. So you would agree that it's not necessarily the beat, but it's about like the words, the message behind it.
Yeah, it's the words for sure. Beats play a role in the sense of the vibe, the frequencies, sonically, but the words, it carries the real message. You know what I mean? Because that's the real human behind it. So yeah, the words
Right.
is powerful.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was a
good
great question.
Y'all got some good questions.
Yes.
Okay.
And just before we get into the next question, can I just ask a question that was pertaining to that?
Go ahead.
It was really good because it was on a subject. So how do you feel about today's music?
I feel like it's imbalanced, and I don't think it's imbalanced from a creative point. I think it's imbalanced because of what's promoted more than what is not promoted.
Right.
Like what's algorithm wise, like what's put in your face more than what's not put in your face.
Correct.
So it's more the marketing than the actual, because there's good stuff out here, but they don't put that in your face
No.
because it's not systematically, it doesn't match some bigger agendas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's imbalanced.
Like they forgot the art,
Yeah, that's what we talking about today.
Today? Exactly. I'm sorry. We got a next studio audience question?
Yeah, so my name is Mike Webb. I'm an entrepreneur and barbershop owner. And with so many artists now up and coming, they tend to ride trends. And when that trend falls off, so does their run. Are there any guidelines or methods that you stay to that help you to continue to make timeless music?
For sure. Number one, you got to have your own sound. Somebody got to be able to hear you and say, oh, that's you. So you got to have this core sound. Like my core sound is like, if you're talking about flow wise, I rap fast, I rap slow. It's like, what I'm doing. I got my fire, that's me on the track. I got this retro current date, like, my brand. So it's like, I tell people, perfect point. They want a buzz. I want a brand. Do you want a buzz or a brand? Buzzes stop. Brands keep going. Like even this podcast is part of the brand.
Right.
So it's like my guideline would be to create a brand, because like he said, when it's all over with, you over with. So it's like, how do you reinvent yourself? However, you do have to keep your ear to the streets, because you don't want to be like, I just seen Big Daddy Kane on a podcast talking about why his album flopped when the newer generation came out, because he was still rapping like 1988. You know what I mean? So I'm always keeping my ear to the street, like whether it's music, radio, battle rap. I'm trying to make sure if any of those happen, whether I got to battle you, whether I got to have a song on the radio, whether I got to rock 1,800 people across the board, I want to be well-rounded. So I'm always on point in every area, whether it's freestyling, whatever it's going to be. So just be on top of your game to the point where you feel like somebody could take your spot at any moment. That's my guidelines for it.
That's great advice.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Great question.
That is a great question. You guys are coming with some good questions.
Hi, my name is Erin Incoherent. I'm a musician and a poet and a mental health advocate. I really like what you're talking about with mental health being kind of at the forefront of a lot of what you're not afraid to discuss with this, and getting into the vulnerability aspect. So as an entertainer, as a songwriter, how do you feel that you have done your job correctly when you're talking to people about vulnerability? What lessons do you want them to learn about being vulnerable themselves?
Like the way I know that it's working is the feedback, and that's why I always tell people, like, articulate your feedback. Like so people, whether it's a comment, whether I do a show and people come up to me after the show like, hey, this is how it affected me. Like when I did the Pray for Philly challenge, how people was DMing me like, hey, like it was a lot of artists, like it was drill artists, like this one drill artist video of me crying like, yo, I don't really want to rap about this for real, but they like my brothers and that's what they doing. I don't really want to do this. So it's like the feedback is how I know it works, because it's like a never ending cycle. It's like I express it, they get it, and they give it to me. It motivates me to keep doing it, and it keeps going back around and around. So that's how I see that it's working. Did I answer the question right?
Yeah. So like, how does vulnerability change the cycles that you're seeing now with people?
Because people see you not afraid to do it. And then they see other people like commenting and like, oh, people like him being like that. So it's okay for me to be like that. So it's like leading by example, but you got to put yourself out there. So you got to deal with all the hate, the trolling, and the good. You got to take good and bad. You got people calling you weird. People be like, oh, you weird. And it's cool. I would rather be weird than be like everybody else. So it's like, you got to be brave enough to like step out there and just put your heart on the table and have somebody either hold it with care or stab it. But that's the risk you take. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
That was a great question. You guys, your studio audience is on point.
What's going on? Appreciate the invite.
Of course.
My name Weedy Beats. I've been around the scene for a while. Just for people who's listening and not seeing it, actually, it's spelled WEEDY Beats. All right, I got 3 questions for you.
That's cool.
All right. I definitely wanted to know this. Why you picked the name Arsin?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's fire.
So when I was in 7th grade, so I got to give credit to, I got to tell the whole story. So I was walking home. I found some tapes on the ground. That's how old I am. I found tapes. If you don't know what a tape is, long story short, Google it, a cassette tape. So I put it in as Brand Nubians, right? It's my first time really getting into hip hop. So I'm loving it. So I go to school and I start rapping they raps. Nobody know Brand Nubian. Yeah. We in 7th grade. They worrying about Pokemon cards. So they like, oh, that's fires. But I kept saying the same raps and it was like, all right, man. So I was like, dang. So my art teacher was like, yo, it's a talent show coming up. You need to do it. So she wrote a rap for me. I'm like, this is trash. So I wrote my own and I performed it. And from that day, everybody's like, oh, that's fire. That's fire. That's fire. So we had a school assignment, like look up synonyms and stuff relating to different words. So I was looking at fire and I was like, looking at different things in the dictionary, came across arson. And I'm like, oh, that's a crime, like somebody burning something down. I'm like, well, every time I rap, that's what I'm doing. So when I got to 9th grade, I became more spiritual. So I changed it from Arsin to Arsin. So I put the I in there. And it's like if you say it in casual conversation, it's like Arsin, like our sin. But it's also an acronym. It's adequate, reflecting sinners in the most need. So now I was still able to keep the concept, but it really was customized to what my mission was. So that's how I came up with it.
Wow.
It's a nice little backstory.
Yeah.
All right, you kind of answered my other question about why you started to rap, like what made you want to rap, because you said the story about your name, how you got your name, but there's still stuff missing about why you started rapping.
Yeah, for sure. And I felt like it was cool, but it wasn't enough. Like the art, it was just that. It wasn't enough. And I was like, I need another way to like elaborate on what I'm feeling, because these pieces of art, everybody they can't interpret it. I want to be straightforward about how I'm feeling. So I started, after that talent show, I just started really writing, you know what I mean? My dad had died. I was dealing with a lot when I was in school. So I just started really just telling stories. Sometimes they was funny, sometimes they were serious, sometimes they were sad. So it was therapy, and it was like motivating my confidence. So I was more extroverted. Like people that know me, that don't know me from music, they see me do music and they be like, yo, who is that? So it's like, it was like a onion. It was a different layer. And it was like, it kind of completed me in a way. Well, one of the things that completed me. So that's why I started to do it.
Okay, that's kind of how I started making beats.
Yeah.
But, all right, this last, it's not a question. I just wanted to reiterate what you said about the suicide thing. When you tried that, that means that it didn't work. So that means God got his hands on you. So I just wanted to say that to you. It don't matter what you do. If something that you try to do negative become a positive, that means God got something for you. And he sees something for you on the path of something that you probably don't even know what it is yet. But just keep going, and you're going to find out what that is. Remember, I said that to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I give a clap for that.
What's up? I'm John Wayne, music fan for life.
Bottom line.
Hey, John.
So you elaborated a little bit earlier. I would like for you to give us a little more detail on, like, when was it that you decided to put your foot down against the streaming industry that's just, like, everybody is on streaming platforms right now, and you decided to go in a different direction with this next album? And that's interesting, I think, and you mentioned that you were making a movement out of it. And I, as a music fan, I miss the days of buying CDs, you know, like looking at the album artwork and all that. Like, I would go back to that. I don't care about streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear what you, like, what was the event or the thought process that made you decide to put your foot down?
Yeah.
And move forward with releasing it the way you are.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you got to remember, I came up in a time when it was CDs. So when I first came out, I was selling them hand in hand, and I was making money from them. So the streaming was a thing because, you know, if you watch the evolution of music, people started downloading it for free. So the industry had to change enough to a model where people could get it. And I understand that. And I think it has its place. Like, I have 4 albums on there. But at this point in my career as an independent artist, having such a following, it just make more sense to bring it back to what it was. So I put my foot down when I realized I wasn't getting the money I deserved. Like, just for example, I had 20,000 streams on a song. You get $280 for that.
Oh.
I mean, it's 20,000. I had 250,000 and I got like crumbs for it. So I was like, you know, like we talked about, like, you work out to music, you cry to it, you ride to it. What do we get out of it? And it's like, you as the listeners, you got to understand that it's you and the artist that's getting you through the day. It ain't Spotify, it ain't Tidal. No offense to them. They just pimping the game how they pimp it. But it's like, how long are you going to let somebody take advantage of the situation? So in my situation, you got to get my album directly from my site. You'll hear a teaser on the platforms, but it's going to redirect you to pay $25 to get the album. And it's a movement. Like you said, when you buy the album, you get to see who wrote it, who produced it. You get the artwork. You get behind the scenes. You get 4 different shirts that's part of merchandise that's connected to the album. So you can wear it. It's quotes from the album. It's people, it's real life people that's ambassadors for those shirts. meaning they live what that is. You get special music videos. It's an experience. You don't get an experience when you just go like a microwave real quick, go listen to something. You know what I mean? You don't get that no more. They take that away from you. So it's like, I want you to know what it's like if you never experienced it or you miss it, to know what this experience is. So that's why I put my foot down, because the math wasn't mathing. It didn't make no sense no more.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to do something about it. Who gonna do something about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense. But thanks, John. I appreciate people like you.
Yeah. I hate to sound like a record player, but it's just like bringing back art, like the true form.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah, we got another person in the
Hello,
audience.
how's everyone doing? You guys look fantastic up
Very
there. My name is Kara Kozer. My artist name is Kozer. I'm the front woman for that band. Thanks so much for having us here. I feel like some of my questions were already answered, but I wanted to pose this to you. When was the last no you received? What was that situation like? And what did you pivot to after receiving that
Yo,
no?
that's funny. Me and my manager Cheese were just talking about that. So we went to LA to Capitol Records with a lawyer that I know. You know, we got in the building, we was in the office, we played the music, and he's like, yo, this is dope. But I could see in their eyes, I'm just looking like, I could see that they didn't. So I was told no about the deal, to answer your question, but let me explain. Record labels don't run nothing no more. They follow what we do as independent artists. So when I looked in his eyes, I seen no direction. He knew it was good, but he didn't know what to do with it because he's not in control of what people like. Because he don't know what people like. He just hop on a bandwagon of what people like, of stuff that's already going on.
Trends.
So he said no. And I know it's good. He knows it's good. What's the issue? But people don't want to take risks on your dreams. They want you to take a risk on them, and they want to hop on a bandwagon. I left that coast, came all the way back to New York, went to Republic Records, met with them in the office, played it. Oh, this is fire, this and that. Oh, we had a virtual call and everything. And they like, oh, this is fire. And they like the independent artists know this. They like to charge you. They like to blow smoke up your ass. Like, oh yeah, if you do this, they just spinning you in circles.
Yeah.
The real answer is leave, build your own platform, get your own following, start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000. Do what you gotta do this. They gonna come to you. You know what I mean? So I was told no, but it was just reassurance. The no was an acronym for next opportunity. So I said, bet, let's go.
Come on, man.
I said, let's go. I said, cool. That's what I needed to hear, because you don't see it. So if you don't see it, that means there's more money in my pocket. So that's why we here today, and we selling the album the way we selling it, and we doing this, and we taking it back the way we taking it back, and they watching. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm actually really glad that you brought that up. My band went up to Republic Records in New York, and they were like, I don't know, they were doing the whole like money thing and like, oh, you got to pay for this and this showcase and that and the third. And we were like, yeah, this doesn't sound like something that we're in alignment with. But that sort of brings me to actually another question I was thinking about asking about, okay, so having palatable music is important, definitely, to be a successful artist, but like, let's not shut a blind eye to like the financial part of it. So like, I guess I'm curious about what avenues. I heard you speak a little bit about like, okay, when you're putting out a song, right, you're going to match it to having like the brand, right, with a shirt and this video for this. What are there avenues other than merch that you take as far as like your music goes to sort of like help support things financially, if that makes sense?
Yes. I mean, I'll tell artists that come in this with the mindset of business. Like, as an artist, you're so passionate, your heart just gets bigger than your mind, and you end up broke like that. So it's like I started Xtinguish Entertainment, because it's broader. You know, now you have the podcast, you have photography, video. Now I have advertisers that sponsor this. Whoa, I know you're enjoying the show, but I wanted to share this opportunity with you. If you're a small business artist or you got an event coming up, you can be one of our sponsors on episodes just like this. What you do is you get a 15-minute interview about your service, product, or event. You also get a small photo shoot, and you get a commercial just like this in the middle of the episode. We reach thousands of people, and we want to give people like you who may not have a big budget an opportunity to be seen by a lot of people. So if you're interested, email us at xtinguishentllc@gmail.com. We can also do all the production too. So if you need a commercial, get with us. Enjoy the rest of the show. I got interns that go out and do events. A portion of that goes back to the business. So, you know, if you look at some of the greats like in business and music, like Jay-Z, you know, Kanye West, some of the people that branch off, they make more money, like Rihanna with her makeup line. Like she probably made more money than that than music. So it's like you have to use your art as the foundation, but don't limit yourself to it because you're more than that. So it's like find ways to, you know, to add value to people. Like this podcast, it's people that watch this that never heard my music because they only really cared about the conversation. Yeah. It's people that don't watch this because they only care about the music. So it's diversifying yourself and being strategic, and also just like knowing what roads cross. Like I do a lot of work in human services for years. So it's a synergy there between my mission in music and the work I do. So a lot of times, like Friday, you'll have a company, like a tech company, hire me to perform for Black History Month to 6,000 employees because they only have 63 Black people there. Right. So it's like you got to find your lane. Yeah. If you're just doing one type of music, you can't perform in those places. You can't come there talking about ops. That ain't gonna work. So you limit your income like that. So it's just like it goes back to being yourself and building off of who you are, and then you can like, okay, I can make money this way, like that.
Thank you. We love it.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You guys are coming. Stuff. Listen. Great audience.
Nard in the building.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Nard, Philly TV. A lot of my questions, everybody kind of touched a lot of them, but I'm gonna go back to what you were talking about. In regards to the streaming, what do you think is the people or the tech?
What's the issue?
Yeah, what's the issue? Where a lot of people don't think about it this way, but it costs to stream. It costs to move data. It costs, all that stuff is baked into a lot of prices. So if you got to pay for housing everybody's music, you got a crazy internet bill, moving the data and the storage of it. You know, when these things were negotiated with like the streaming services, and they go to Amazon and say, hey, I need, you know, petabytes of space to save this data.
Of course.
You know, they probably bake that into the cost of what they pay out to the artists. I don't know. I didn't fact check. But logically, as a tech guy myself, I'm like, it costs a lot.
Yes, it do.
Do you think that it's going to change in the near future in regards to how much people are compensated if the tech costs are still the same?
I think it starts with the people. That's how we got here in the first place. People decided that when technology changed, they wanted easier ways to get the music. And I think tech and everything followed the people. So it always starts with the people, and I understand and respect the tech because they found a perfect position for themselves because they was losing. You know, if y'all all playing $20 a month, that's $20 million a month times however. Yeah. The artist is only, I just feel like the percentage is unfair, but at the same time, it goes back to the people. The artists are people too. And the people and the artists, when they come together and say, this is what we're going to do, the tech has to follow. So if artists was like, see, Jay-Z smart, he got Tidal. But if every artist start getting their own streaming services, or if every artist on the streaming service say, hey, listen, come to my site, stop going there, and then y'all all start going there because you ain't got no choice, then the tech has to change. So I don't think the machine and the tech is the problem. Technology is always following human behavior. Even in data, they're selling your data and your behavior to advertisers. You know what I mean? They're using the stuff you click on, they're using that and selling that to Walmart, so Walmart can show you what you want to buy. So it's all back to you and your behavior, and that's what this is about. And that's why I have y'all here to represent the people, because y'all don't know you can even be like a robot or a slave to this tech, or you could lead the tech. You don't know that because you don't see your position in there. You just like, oh, I'm a regular person, just go to work every day. But no, when you engage in this stuff, you're more powerful than you think. And you can also not just help artists and communities, but help yourself, because when you change the narrative of tech, you change the world, because that's where we're going. So yeah, I appreciate that question, that perspective, and I'm glad you did that.
I got another one too.
For sure.
Have you jumped into the metaverse yet?
I think we all in there.
Right, but like ours, can people get Arsins based off the technology part of it? You know, we're in the world of cryptocurrency and all these other different technologies. That cryptocurrency isn't always money. It's, you know, it's the way, you know, like TCP/IP is the way you got on the internet, surf the internet before. That's how your internet, your data rights.
Yeah.
You're not selling it, right, on the network part of it, right? Well, you got the blockchain. Keep in mind, it's like a reset. You know, have you thought about getting into the blockchain, getting into the metaverse, taking advantage of some of these things that are the wild, wild west right now, so that you live well beyond the years that we're here now?
Yeah, for sure. I am. One of the things I'm doing, I just got put on this crypto investment company. I don't want to mention their name yet because I just started working with them and I'm not sure where I want to go. But it's the concept is you could buy stock, like let's just say Arsin stock. And when I do good, you do good. You know, and that's not just as an artist in music, but if Xtinguish does good, just like anything else. So I am doing it on a financial tip there, but also I'm trying to create assets in the metaverse as well.
NFTs, things of that nature. That's pretty much how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, in that aspect. And there's other ways, you know, like people used to keep tickets and say, oh, I was here, I got the ticket. They used to take pictures of it. Well, if you minted an NFT that was Arsin's NFT, kind of like what what's the guy, Tory Lanez. I think Tory Lanez did, and there's other artists that jump into that. But I was just wondering if you dug into that yet.
Yeah, I just started.
Keep digging.
Yeah,
it's the wild, wild west. And you can make some,
I just started, and I started because I got on this campaign of thinking bigger than just today.
Yeah.
And I think when we live in survival mode as people and artists, they just go to the studio, SoundCloud. They don't think about nothing else. They don't copyright it. They don't think of, like, my stuff is on, like, I was watching TV, Waka Flocka show, and heard my song because I submitted it, you know, for synchronization. So, yeah, that's another way to make money too.
Sync license.
So yeah, sync license.
Mm-hmm. Sync license for sure.
It's something that goes forever.
Yeah.
You know, and they can track it.
Mm-hmm. That was a great question. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lovely Lake Beats. That's my Instagram name. That's what I go by. I'm a music producer out in the DMV area. But I definitely have a few questions for you, though. So what is something or somebody who inspires you in life and helps you make music?
I have so many different inspirations. I'm gonna start with what's close to me. It's definitely my mom was a big inspiration because of what she overcame. She got 30 years clean. She told me when I was 6, if I get all A's, she'll stop drinking, and she kept her word.
Aww.
She did a lot of work in the community as a block captain and different things. So, you know, she was an inspiration to see how her voice could have an impact on people. She introduced me to music because I grew up listening to James Brown, Michael Jackson in the house. And then it went from that level of entertainment to more like, you know, what was going on in the urban community with hip hop. So that's where the inspiration came from initially. And then it went to artists, like I mentioned earlier, some of the artists I listened to. It went to just some of the strangest people you would think, like the local drunk in the neighborhood or the crackhead that used to do this and do that. He tell you these stories, but you got to really listen to the stories because he's trying to tell you which way not to go.
Right.
And you can use that as inspiration for a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or these stories that I hear and I'll just be like, dang, I want to tell that person's story. You know what I mean? They don't have a voice, but I can create a scenario where I could tell their voice, or, you know, so I get inspired from all types of different sources. I mean, I get inspired from nature. I get inspired from people. I get inspired from pain. I get inspired from my daughter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I get inspired from people like you. I heard that beat that you told it was sold. I was like, dang, that joint sold. So it's like, yeah.
I know. I'm sorry about that. I had to
It's all
get
good.
that from you real quick. But also, what was the challenge that you faced recently that you felt like you couldn't go through, but you went through it anyway?
It was like a double whammy for me back in like September. My best friend died, and that was my go-to person for everything. Like all this stuff we talking about, like that's my guy. When you don't have that person no more after over 30 years, it's like where you go. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know how that was going to work. I was working at a job that was a great situation, but I felt like I was outgrowing that pot. My roots was getting too big for that pot. And sometimes people don't see your vision. They only see where you at. They don't see where you want to go. And it's not their responsibility to see that. So I was stuck in that position too. So I resigned with nothing planned, like nothing followed up. And my best friend dying, you know, it was like, yo, I know him. He's like, you know, there's a whole story about him on the Enquirer. His name's Stephen B. Smith. Really inspirational dude. I know him. I'm like, this is a sign. Like, he would tell me like, yo, just leap on faith. So I just went into this whole when the sun falls thing, like when I went inside and I start manifesting stuff. I said, yo, I don't want it. I'm going to be what I want. Because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So I said, yo, I'm going to be it. I wanted to be a director. I felt like at a director level, you can make systematic changes in the world.
Yeah.
I was a program manager. That's programmatic, but it's not visionary. I said, so what does a director do? What do they eat? What do they watch? You got to think about that. And I start becoming it, and I attracted it, and I became the director of health and human service at an organization called Heights. So that was something I didn't know was going to happen, but I made it happen because you got two choices. Either you can make it happen or you can make excuses. And that's how I look at life. So that was one thing. And then overcoming his death wasn't that bad as far as depression go, because he was such an inspiration. So, you know, when the Enquirer reached out to me about telling the story, I just looked at it like that. He was paralyzed for 20 years after getting shot, but he did more paralyzed than people do that's not paralyzed. So I stopped looking at it like, oh man, I lost somebody. And I was grateful for the fact that he didn't die at 16, that I had 20 more years with him. So I went in beast mode. Like, when you hit rock bottom, there's no lower you can get.
Yeah.
So that's something I didn't feel like I could have got through. I didn't know how, but I figured it out.
So who is a person, whether it's an underground artist or it's a big top artist, who would you want to be on your album that you didn't get a chance to have on your album now?
It's a really good question. Big artists, definitely John Legend, Nas. Yeah, John Legend, Nas for sure. I don't know if a lot of people know this person, but his name Yellow Wolf. Yellow Wolf. Yeah. Yellow Wolf, a dude named Ritz. He like these are like, I don't know what to call them because they like got big followings, but they're not mainstream.
Yeah.
Like Hopskin and them dudes.
Oh,
Like,
Hopskin, yeah.
yeah, not just for their artistry, but because they mirror what I do as well as
Yeah.
independent artists. But yeah, as far as underground go, a lot of the underground artists that I do know, I have had a chance to work with. I had a chance to do a song with Bone Thugs and Harmony, who I grew up listening to. A lot of the local people like, you know, Cheek Raw, Tone Trump, a lot of different artists from Philly that I like for whatever reason at that time for that song, like Gilly. I did that, but at this point, I'm just looking more internationally because I kind of covered some of the foundational stuff. But yeah, that's what I would like to have on it. And I'm going to keep it there because the album has a pocket. You know, everybody can't fit in that pocket. But
Yeah.
I think in this pocket, rapping-wise, Nas and John Legend. Yeah, I like the way he sing, got that whole Scooby-Doo voice.
Yeah, me too. I love him.
Yeah,
Back in
that's
the day.
Scooby-Doo.
That's why I used to
That's
listen to.
hilarious.
But my last question is, really, how would you say that you do your coping mechanism? Like, I know you said through music, through meditation, and with everything else, what advice would you give your younger self that you know now with the music industry, with all the people that you lost, and, you know, with your child and everything like that? What advice would you give your younger self and also your future self? What do you look up to in the future?
Yeah, so I wanna answer that in a unique way. My younger self gave me advice because I started my coping when I was young. So that younger self, identifying that music, working out, being a man of the house in a way, and not showing so much emotion to my mom because she got a lot going on. I had to find ways to cope. So I learned back then, and I just replicated. And as I got older, I found new ways, new books, new videos, new ideas, and I kind of put it in my toolbox of coping things that work for me. So that's how that coping part went. As far as what I would give my younger self advice about is, Um, I would just say you doing the right thing. Like, because I'm proud of my younger self coming up in a hood or an environment where it was no reason to be that positive. Like, there's no reason to be that positive. But for some reason, you made that decision.
Yeah.
When everybody was calling you weird or, you know, you whatever, like, you stood on all 10 and you stood on business before business was a saying. You were standing on it. Like, I'm proud of you for that, because if you didn't do that, those same people that was making fun of you wouldn't be coming to you now for advice.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be coming to you now for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's what I would say. I would say, yo, keep doing what you're doing. And my future self, I would just tell my future self, I'm proud of you. I ain't gonna lie, that's all I really could say, because it's the future, so I don't know. But if I'm there, I mean, I'm still around.
So you did it.
Yeah, so I did something to get there. So I would just say, you know, I'm proud of you, and I'm inspired by you because you exist. You know
Come
what
on
I mean?
now. Oh, I like that. That was dope. That was dope. That was dope. I like that.
Yeah. Y'all got some dope questions.
Yes,
so I got
like
y'all.
snatched them all up.
Hello, my name is Emerald. You guys asked really great questions. My question was, what was your biggest inspiration, your coping mechanisms? Now I want to know, do you plan on pulling the music that you have on streaming platforms off and just selling everything?
No, I think I think that wherever I was at that time of my life, whatever that is, it's important, and whatever that stage and technology, I'm gonna keep it there, because it's going to be people that's not going to want to buy your album. I don't care what you say. They're not going to do it because they broke. They just don't want to. So they need what works. You got to meet people where they at. Yeah. So you got 4 albums to listen to. If you listen to 4 albums and you don't want to buy the 5th one, then cool. If you listen to them, it's enough material for you to understand what's going on and what's the next step. So it's like, I think that's important. It's important to keep that where it's at, because it's going to show people where you were, but it's going to make them want to pay for where you're going. So it's like, oh, this first album sound kind of weird. The second album sound better. Oh yeah, oh, it's getting better. Dang, what's the 5th one going to sound like? So without that, where they going to go? You know, they the type of person that's not going to buy nothing. So it's like, I'm going to keep it there for that reason.
Yeah.
But it'll be videos. I'm very intrigued about Crash Dummies. I feel like it will speak directly to our youth. Hopefully they can gain something from it and realize that it's more wreck chasing about this life. But will it be a video, so a visual? I mean, we hear it, but sometimes they need to actually
see it.
This is what I'm doing. You don't know what you look like.
Exactly. It's going to be videos from the album. That video is going to be a visual to it. It won't be like an official music video like some of the other ones, but it's a very simple vision, because like I did a really intricate artsy one with Pray for Philly, but sometimes you just got to keep it plain and simple. So the visual I'm going to do for that, it is going to be a visual, and it's going to be straightforward. I'm not going to have a lot going on. It's going to be straight to the point, and they're going to be able to see that for what it is. Like, and when y'all see it, y'all see what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, he wasn't playing when he said straight to the point. I don't want to tell you, but yeah, when you see it, you're gonna be like, okay, cool, this is what he meant.
So I got a follow-up question. You touched on Pray for My City earlier and then just now, and you also mentioned your work in human services. Now, it may not be plausible, but do you have any ambitious goals for the city of Philly to better, whether it's, with all that you've been working on or striving for?
Yes, for sure. So for those who don't know, the Pray for Philly challenge was a challenge that I use art, social media together to address gun violence in the city. And I had other artists step up to create something about the topic. And it went from older artists to younger artists, and younger artists got into the competition. It was all over the news. It was a big thing. But for me, what was important was to take that and make it sustainable to real life. Like, it's cute being on the news and that's what's up, but it's like, where is this going to go when it's end? So my bigger goal was to take all the participants and provide them with different services that that are accustomed to what they need, whether it's mental health, they need shelter, if they need food, if they need education. Me being a director of health and human service for Heights, which is two big nonprofits coming together in the city of Philadelphia, that's my way to give back. Like right now, University of Penn Hospital is going to hire 30 seniors, and they came to me. So I made a post, and I got 40 seniors ready to work right out of high school. We help 8th graders to college get careers in tech, business, and health and human service. So my main things that I feel like is the biggest issues is not having economic mobility and not having mental health. If you can take care of somebody's mind and they pockets, then they should be good. You know what I mean? Because I think the biggest issues in our community is we ain't got no money and we dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like I have a background where I have a lot of mental health, and now I'm in a position to help the young people, which is our future, get life-sustaining income so they don't have to make those decisions and they could change generational curses. So I take what I do in music, and it don't end there. So you follow me for music, but you also, your daughter is getting in the program because I'm Arsin. You know what I mean? Without the Arsin brand and everything they are surrounded, nobody would know about it. So it's like, that's how I funnel people, and that's how I make change is in my capacity.
So again, being a shop owner, I know a barber shop anywhere is like a typical hub for any type of resources, anything like that. So with that being your mission, for the people that are watching this and would like to help, whether it's resources or streamlining any type of aid to you, is there any type of contact you would want to shout them out?
Yeah, for sure. So I have the two platforms. I have the more business side, which is Xtinguish Entertainment, and then I have my nonprofit, which is DB4, which is the bottom DA bottom 4 community. It's on Instagram. There's also a website. That's a website where you could just donate general. All of those donations go towards like off projects like Pray for Philly Challenge. That was something that I didn't want to financially capitalize on. So that's why I changed the actual song to Voices to My City, because people was like, yo, sell Pray for My Philly shirts. I said, no, it's not. That's a DB4 thing. That's a community thing. So a lot of people know DB4, because I worked with Drexel. DB4 was a part of initiative to help the Philadelphia get the Obama's own administration money, which was $600 million to do community transformation. One out of 3 cities in America. So yeah, you can go to db4.org if you want to donate anything towards the community side of what we're doing. And yeah, that's how you do it.
On behalf of the city and just the urban communities around it, I think. So,
I appreciate it, man.
I had another question. Do you think music is some natural, or do you feel like it's some that could be learned?
I think it's yes to both of those in a way, because like everything is harmonic, like your heartbeat, your patterns in the day. If you look at it on that level, anybody could sit and learn music. Like you can actually learn notes. You can press keys. Now, it's the other part is like the talent. Like I could teach you how to play the piano, but at some point, when you're going to stop playing what I got on the paper, and when you're going to let it come from your heart. So I think there's the technical side, and then I think it's the going within and finding your rhythm side. And I think artists, we're more sensitive to that, so we can go in a little quicker than somebody that may not be, and tap into that. So it's the technical side and it's the talent side. So that's why I said it's like yes to both. But like for the artist question, I would think it's something that you just are. Like I do music, but I am music at the same time. You see what I mean? It's like even if it was illegal tomorrow, like you getting life in prison because you can't do nothing artistic, I'm going to be on the run. Like it's just who I am.
Right, be booked in there, beatboxing, make songs, right?
I ain't getting booked, but if I do, I will be in there, beatboxing on my chest and everything. Like, well, right.
All right, thank you.
We was on the topic of like mental health and basically healing and everything like that. So I know you can't get into the album fully, but would you consider doing like anything with sound healing, still tongue drums, as far as to help with mental health and with people in general, just so they can listen to the music and for them to just heal?
Yes. I was working at a I was working at a drug rehabilitation organization, and one of the things I brought to the table was meditation. I would do it every day at 7 o'clock, and I would use music. I would start off with music and I would end off with music, but in between I would do guided meditation. So I just met somebody who does that. They do actually like music therapy, and I'm going to be reaching out to them because I want to do like wellness things at least every quarter, where it's a workshop where we can talk, but it's a space where you can do what you exactly you just said, which is have a space to use music to heal you in a more like meditative way. So yeah, that's something that I planned on doing like later in the year in the fall, after I got kind of over this hump and releasing this album. So I'm glad you said that. That was great.
Yeah, you guys are coming with great questions.
So Brittany, you got any questions for them?
I absolutely do have questions for them, but I was hoping that we didn't run out of time. But I just like, so I asked him, what is his views on social media and the influence on music today? What do you guys feel about the impact of social media or trendy sounds, or like, what are you guys' views on today's music, just in general?
So going off trending sounds, I think strategically that's a good move to make, because like certain sounds and stuff like that will appeal to certain age groups or certain vibes, certain environments. As far as the impact though, I was watching a video and it was called it was about cognitive dissonance, which is like the contrast and effects, basically like not really believing in something but also partaking. So I feel like for me personally, just off that, morally, if it's not the kind of thing I would be saying to a 5-year-old, I'm not going to say it to an adult either, because if it's not something I could say in front of my church, I'm not putting it in no song. So for that, I think it do have an impact. Like he said, I feel like it have the ability to save a life. I also feel like it have the ability to take one,
Right.
because you could be listening to something, get you pumped up, then you already got something going on, then you go do it. So yeah, I think it do have a big impact on the youth. I feel like it have the ability to brainwash, but it also have the ability to like wash you, cleanse you in your mind, calm you down. So yeah, I think it have a big impact.
Okay, great.
Great
Good
stuff.
to hear. Great stuff.
The questions about kind of how social media affects the artist.
Yeah.
I have different thoughts about that. Social media, I think we're kind of losing the forest through the trees because we are being asked to create art for consumption and not for community, right? Like, so we're spending hours and hours and weeks just creating content, and sometimes you only get 17 views.
Right.
And then it becomes a self-worth issue at that point, where I don't think we used to ask ourselves these types of questions before social media became very prevalent. That being said, I do see it as a necessary evil, because this is a free platform, right? This is a good way to get to audiences that you might not ever hear if you just had to rely on in-person interactions. So I see the necessity of it, but I'm worried that we're not creating from our hearts anymore. We're creating for the ability to trend, you know, and not seeing our own worth because we're being asked to compare that to whoever has more streams or followers or views.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
seriously.
Yeah, she said that so eloquently.
Yes.
Very much so. Hard to follow up. But I would say many of our generation of folks listen to the beat first and to the words last.
Correct.
We also have a number of recycled beats, which leads to the lack of creativity within society today.
Yeah.
So that's a number of things, and a lot of folks already said some of the things that I wanted to address. But yes, every generation is different. You know. So I think it just depends on what's happening. But like you said, for the consumption of just wanting to get paid, seems to be the cycle right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
So just to make sure your question, you said the influence impacting artists.
Well, we can that's a spin on it as well, but just the view, like the social media, like how do you feel like the trends are affecting or not affecting you? Do you think that I'm getting tongue tied myself now? But like, because like everybody's so intelligent, it's just like hitting me. I don't know how to talk.
I just don't want to answer it wrong.
No. I just wanted just your views on social media and the impact on trending music or trending sound or trends in general. Like we have people that we just have like this could fall off the table, but if it falls off the table the right way, and someone sees it, now I'm viral on TikTok. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, what are your views on it and just involving music? I guess
my views. I'm gonna say my views on the trending and my views on the influence.
Yeah.
Now trending, it's a lot of people that got signed off of trending. A fight. Mm-hmm. Or something like you said, something fall off the table like that, and you get in the trends, and a lot of people repost it to their stories, and then they get the buzz, and then here come the calls, the interviews, so
brand deals.
Right, exactly. So somebody is out there looking for a trend. You know what I'm saying? Coming up with something. And as far as the influence part, it has a substantial influence on the young artists, because the influence on say for Lil Wayne, for instance, he's promoting the purple drink, drugs and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the young artists who's copying that, you know what I'm saying? They're influenced by that because of where he is at, his stature is at in the music industry. So they're copying off of what they see like an idol or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So when you put that on social media, the influence is going through the younger artists.
Correct.
So that's why you start seeing the pants sagging down, the gun with the ladder hanging out, like it's just like Crash Dummy, like you said.
Right.
So it's just a whole lot of mimicking for people to get to the trending or the going looking up to the influence you think.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on that. Like when hip hop was in its prime, like, well, I would say like the 80s and 90s, all of the artists was original, and you would kind of get clowned if you tried to mimic somebody. But you got to think about that time. That was a time when hip hop wasn't really accepted. So all the artists was kind of like revolutionary and taking risks. Now that it's accepted in the thing and all the companies want to use it, now you have somebody to mimic, you know what I mean? Like who was you mimicking? I mean, you was going to mimic Curtis Blow or somebody. Like you wasn't really. You may have had Big Daddy Kane influence you if you was Bone Thugs and Harmony, or you may have had Rakim influence you if you was Nas, but you didn't want to be Rakim. You wanted to be Nas.
Yeah.
So it's like now people want to be the artist. Like they don't even want to be themselves. Like
no individuality.
They're not taking a piece and like evolving
still in the blueprint.
Yeah, they just
doing the whole thing.
They want to be a replica.
Yeah.
So that's what I see the issue is.
All right. So I had another question just for the audience. I apologize. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, like, far as the views and the trending and everything like that, but like people don't really realize the things that they say and how powerful the tongue is and how powerful your mind is, really, because it was this trend on Instagram, TikTok. People are saying time and everything like that, and it's just like you have to be very careful on what you say, because you don't know what spells you're putting out. You don't know what can happen, in all honesty. And really the youth that we have, those are our future at the end of the day. So you definitely have to be careful with that, because it was people singing like Sexy Red, and I don't know if y'all seen that video go viral. Like it was kids in the classroom doing that. So I feel like right now, as far as the trending and the views, it's all messed up and it's out of whack. And I feel like we really need to bring R&B back and bringing that love, that support back, where that time frame, it was so empowering and everybody loved it.
That point you said about them little girls, right? I saw it and I kept scrolling, because my thing is this: what accountability do the person got that's reposting it? It's like, if it's so disgusting, why are you going to repost it?
Views.
On my song, Let Me Talk, I say, this word is so sensitive, ignorant. They want to cancel everything but their membership. How you hate it but subscribe, you a hypocrite. It's like you can't hate something and you subscribe to it, but you ain't canceling your membership. So it's like, if you don't like something, but this is why they do it. They really do it so you can comment and say that's awful, because it still gives them gratification that they said something about it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, take your ego out of it if you really want to make a change, but people can't do that because they don't have nothing but the ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. All right, so before I get into the last question, do you want to do a time check? Are we good?
Yeah, so we're going to do this last question and, we're going to wrap it up.
All right, so it's just a general question, because we're talking about music and bringing back art and art form and the artist's rights and controlling your music and controlling everything. So my question for the audience is, could you guys give me your definition of what is art?
I feel like art for me is it's basically what you put out, is what your passion is, what you love to do, just in a general matter. Like it can just be through drawing, it can be through music, it can just be whatever you like to do. It can be your coping mechanism at the end of the day. Like for me, I'm a producer. That's what I do every day, all day. Like I love to give clients their music to see their reaction, and that's my art. That's my piece. That's my sanity. So I feel like it's anything that you put your heart and soul into, really.
Yeah.
I would say for me, art is subjective. I went to a performing arts high school many moons ago, but there's so many different arts, performing arts, visual arts, but it is something that you truly enjoy doing and could do without even thinking about the paycheck because you're so passionate about it. So it really has to be something from your heart, something that you do really well, and something that you can share with others, and so that they can be exposed to that element.
It's great. I love that.
I think art is existence. It's how you exist passionately, what speaks to you, and how you share that with your community. You know, you can have individual artistic expression and communal artistic expression. I can see people be artistic in the kitchen with cooking, even if it's just for their family. You know, I can see somebody being artistic on stage in front of thousands of people with an acting troupe behind them. So I just think it's existing with passion, whatever really speaks to your heart, and how you give that back to your community.
Thanks. That was great.
Yes.
If I can add my 2 little cents into it, I really feel like art is like a freedom of your expression, right? I feel like, you know, that's something that you'll do passionately, whether you get paid for it or not. It's just a way that you kind of cope with whatever mechanisms that you have going on within you. So as long as you can freely express art, is a way for you to be able to be more in tune with yourself than anything. You know, someone really can't put a value on your art. Only you can. So
I love that. Thanks.
I'm gonna go ahead, Weedy. Go ahead, Weedy.
I'm gonna say art is like who you are as a person. Like you could be, like you said, on demon time. I say I'm on angel time.
I know that's right.
I'm not on demon time.
I know that's right.
So you could be on angel time, you be on demon. It depends on how you want to, perceive yourself to be to people. Sometimes it could be a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's who you want everybody to look at you as, or who you are and what you're about. Like, I'm a producer, but I go out there helping the community, you know what I'm saying, give out food. Like, this is who you are. This is this person. And also you could be, the art can be like a working man, a family man.
Yeah.
Like, this is what he take care of the family. This is his art. That's all he know.
I love that.
That's what he do. He take care of the family. So it's different perspectives, but yeah.
Yeah, I love how y'all understand and like showing the people that, because a lot of people don't see the art in their life. They don't see the fact that the buildings they go in, the architecture that was once started with it. They don't see the food they eat, the art that goes behind the culture of it. They just don't even see the art no more. And I think I'm glad y'all had this conversation. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Go ahead.
I would go off what they said. It's like you get to experience your senses in a different way. So like for the visual person, it would be like loving your sight because you appreciate the art. The art could be like your nose, like she says, somebody cooking, somebody's mom. That's like the form. Your ears, how you feel about a song, because even music could touch that. So I think it would be just appreciating your senses even more in that moment, like all 5 of them.
Yes, for sure.
For sure. That was dope.
I definitely I agree with all of that. And I had my definition, which is pretty much a mashup of everything y'all just said, so I'm not gonna repeat it. But it's funny you asked that question, Brittany, because I looked up the definition before we came just to see what I could find on Google. And usually when I Google stuff, I don't like the definition. But this definition, it really touched and kind of brings and ties everything together. So the definition says, art is the conscious use of skill and creative imagination, especially in the production of objects, Art is essential to society as it stimulates creativity, reflects culture, fosters empathy, provokes thought, and offers a medium for expression. It enhances society intellectual and emotional understanding of the world. I know, right? For sure. So when I read that definition, it brought me back, just to bring everything back to the title of When the Sun Falls. The first thing it says is the conscious use. And when we talked about me going within, any conscious decision as a living being, as a fragment of the creator, you're a creator. So when you think, you create, whether it's a thought, an intention, you are an artist from the moment you think. So the conscious creation, when the word conscious came up, I said, we are artists. You just don't see it. How you paint your life, how you paint your narrative, how you paint your story is based off of what you decide, the decisions you make. And this is why I brought this conversation up, so you as the viewers can see the connection between art and you, and we can bring it back together. So I just want everybody to just give a big round of applause for art, and I thank y'all for coming out today. You know what I mean? Yeah. And listen, I appreciate all y'all for coming out. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure, people could see representation here, see different races, cultures, religions coming together. And I appreciate y'all. And Brittany, I appreciate you being a host.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time. You guys are it was fun.
Of course. So yes, make sure you support the new album that come out May 21st, 2024, or it's out now, depending on when you watch this. Make sure you support all our guests. I have their social medias under their name, so rewind the video back so you can follow them. And let's bring it together, Matchbook Podcast. But one idea sparks the idea of minis. Episode 8. Peace. Download my new album, When the Sun Falls, on arsinmovement.com.
Living in the moment, doing my thing. No time for the drama or the post.